Just 19 minutes ago, Shu Kai and Tan Songyun quit fame for love. Fans are shattered. It started with silence, not a press conference, not a live stream, not a studio statement, just silence, a stillness that spread like a storm cloud over social media, over group chats, over the hearts of millions who had followed every moment of their story, every high, every fall, every scream, every hospital door, every whispered prayer outside ICU glass. And then, 19 minutes ago, everything changed. Shu Kai posted first, not a video, not a selfie, not a teaser for a new project, just a single image, black and white, his hand holding hers, their fingers interlocked, her foreband still around her wrist, his thumb tracing her knuckles, and the caption only read, "This is all we ever wanted. Goodbye, for now. For love." The moment it went live, the world froze. 17 million reactions in 10 minutes. 5 million comments. Thousands of fan pages crashing from traffic. And then, Tan Songyun posted too, no image, just a short note, typed in plain text, no filters, no emojis, nothing dressed up for the public eye. To everyone who gave us grace, who stayed through the storm, who didn't look away when we broke, thank you. My heart has always been his. The rest doesn't matter anymore. We're choosing peace. We're choosing love. We're leaving the noise behind. And with that, the screen faded to black. Their official pages closed. Archived. Gone. No one had seen it coming, not after the accident, not after the recovery, not after the brief return to the spotlight when Shu Kai appeared at an award ceremony with a stitched brow and eyes that refused to smile, not after Tan Songyun posted her first mirror selfie since the hospital, her bump just barely showing, her caption vague, a single sunflower emoji, followed by silence. Rumors had been circling, yes, but no one believed them, not really. Everyone thought they were getting ready to face the cameras again, together, stronger, branded by trauma but unbreakable, the kind of love story that sells out theaters, the kind that makes people believe again. But behind the curtains, things were shifting. And no one knew it but them. Sources close to the couple say the decision came quietly, over weeks, not days, during long nights spent in the countryside, far from lights, far from scripts, far from schedules and stylists and questions they didn't want to answer anymore. They rented a small home, barely visible from the main road, where no one asked for autographs, where they could sit on the floor and eat instant noodles, where Shu Kai read baby books out loud just to make her laugh, where she would press her ear to his chest at night just to feel his heart beat. It was there that the idea first came. A life without lights. A love without scripts. It wasn't an easy decision. There were contracts. Obligations. Endorsements worth millions. Global tours planned for next spring. Studio deals inked behind the scenes. But none of that mattered, not really, not after what they'd been through, not after hearing machines beep through the night, not after watching blood drain from her face in the backseat of an ambulance, not after the second heartbeat on the monitor slowed, then stopped, then came back again, not after Shu Kai collapsed in the hospital hallway and had to be sedated before he shattered something. Not after she almost didn't make it. Not after he screamed when they told him they weren't sure the baby would either. Not after she cried for hours thinking she'd lost both him and the child. There are some moments that change you, not just temporarily, not just emotionally, but chemically, structurally, the kind of moments that rearrange your soul. And they had survived all of them. But surviving doesn't mean returning. In their final week before posting the goodbye, they invited only 3 people to their home, his mother, her father, and a man from the legal team. They sat in the garden. The sun was setting. Tan Songyun wore white, her bump framed by a linen dress, her hands resting on it like a vow. Shu Kai was barefoot. The lawyer handed them the final drafts. Papers that ended everything the world knew about them. Brand contracts. Film commitments. Media rights. All dissolved. All signed away. And when it was done, Tan Songyun reached for his hand and said, "Let's go home." The final scene before the world knew happened in a small kitchen. No cameras. No phone lights. Just her humming a lullaby. Just him chopping ginger and whispering, "How many weeks now?" 23, she smiled. He kissed her forehead. They didn't speak about fame again. They didn't talk about red carpets or comeback tours or brand meetings or interviews or how they'd explain it to their agents. They just ate. They just sat. They just loved. Back in the city, their team scrambled. Phone calls poured in. News outlets begged for statements. One agency offered double their highest contract just to bring them back for a televised farewell. But no reply came. And when the world saw the posts 19 minutes ago, every fan who ever held their breath during those hospital updates, every person who prayed in hashtags and left flowers at the emergency entrance, every single follower who watched them fall and rise again, they shattered. Because some endings don't come with closure. Some just come quietly. With love. Across social media, the grief was immediate. We waited for them to rise again. I didn't expect this to be the final chapter. No. No. Not like this. Don't go. I understand. But I'm crying. I really am. Love won. But we lost them. And amidst all the comments, one stood out. Just 6 words. From an anonymous account. They chose each other. That's enough. Inside their quiet countryside home, Shu Kai turned his phone off. He placed it in a drawer. Then he walked into the nursery. It wasn't finished yet. But the crib was there. He'd built it himself, using a hammer that bent with every wrong nail, using pieces he measured twice and still got wrong, but she loved it. She said it was perfect. She said she didn't care if the world watched their child take a first step. As long as he was there to hold her when it happened. And he promised. He promised he would. Later that night, she stood at the edge of the bed, her hands on her belly, whispering a story to the life inside her. A gentle story. About a world where people love loudly but also quietly. About how strength sometimes looks like leaving. About how heroes don't always wear microphones. And how some dreams are made of simpler things. Of sunlight through curtains. Of soup after long days. Of arms that don't let go. They didn't disappear to run. They didn't vanish in fear. They just chose. Chose to love without permission. Chose to build a world that doesn't fit inside a screen. And maybe one day, their child will grow up and search for their names. And find it all. The fans. The films. The chaos. The silence. And the moment 19 minutes ago when everything changed. Because they weren't broken. They were just done performing. Shu Kai and Tan Songyun spotted outside Hidden Clinic. No one knew where they went, not exactly, not the fans, not the paparazzi, not even most of their management team, because when Shu Kai and Tan Songyun said goodbye, they meant it, not a staged retreat, not a calculated break, but a full disappearance. A vanishing act so complete that for weeks the world whispered about whether they were even still in the country, or if they had crossed borders, changed names, buried their past and moved on for good. But love doesn't stay hidden forever. Especially not when it grows into something new, something that kicks at night, that dances under ribs, that keeps her awake even when she's too tired to speak, something that pulls him out of bed at dawn to heat water, to make soup, to press his ear against her stomach and whisper things only the two of them understand. The first signs came quietly. A nurse posted and deleted a blurry photo, 2 shadows in a hallway, her in white, him carrying a duffel bag, his cap pulled low, her hand resting gently on her belly, 1 line of text before it vanished. Did anyone else see them walk in? The hospital didn't comment. The fans weren't sure. But then, just 3 hours later, a delivery man dropped flowers at her back in trance, white lilies, the kind Tan Songyun had once said reminded her of her mother, and someone else posted a voice note, not of her, not of Shu Kai, but of a heartbeat, fast, steady, soft, unmistakably real. And the internet exploded. Outside the hospital, it began to rain. Heavy, quiet rain that soaked the concrete and made everything feel slower, softer, like the city itself had taken a breath. Inside, the lights were dimmed. She was in a private room, no press, no noise, no machines buzzing without purpose, just 2 nurses, a kind woman named Mai who kept humming an old lullaby, and Shu Kai, sitting beside her, holding her hand like it was the last thing tethering him to the earth. She was in pain. But she didn't scream. She just looked at him. And when the doctor said, "It's time," he kissed her forehead and whispered, "You can do this, we already survived worse." She nodded. She smiled. Then everything blurred. The baby didn't cry right away. There was silence, a breath held too long, and Shu Kai felt something inside him collapse. His knees nearly gave out as he watched them work, watched their hands move too fast, saw the doctor's face change, and then, just when he reached for the bed to steady himself, it happened. A cry. Sharp. Loud. Alive. He covered his mouth with his hand. His eyes filled. She reached for him, her fingers weak, trembling. And together, they looked at the child. Tiny. Perfect. Breathing. They didn't name the baby immediately. They just held her. Hours passed like seconds. She fell asleep with the baby curled on her chest, and Shu Kai sat beside them, unable to move, unable to stop staring. He didn't need a camera to capture the moment. It was already burned into him. Forever. Outside the world spun. And then someone saw them. It was 4:12 a.m. A journalist on her way home from another stakeout, tired, hungry, frustrated, when she saw the black car parked in the alley behind the clinic. She slowed down. Noticed the driver. Recognized the man standing by the rear door. And then she saw them step out. Shu Kai. Tan Songyun. And the baby. Wrapped in white, cradled against her chest, his arm around both of them, her hair pulled back, no makeup, no expression except peace. She didn't take the photo right away. She froze. Because some things are sacred. Some things even a journalist can't interrupt. But then the moment passed. And instinct won. The shutter clicked. And the world knew again. By the time morning came, the internet had lost its mind. Baby confirmed. Shu Kai seen with Tan Songyun outside clinic. Their first appearance in 47 days. Who is the baby's name? Why did they keep it secret? Speculation turned to chaos. Some fans celebrated. Others were angry. We waited for months, and this is how we find out. They don't owe us anything, let them be. They left the industry and still can't escape the noise. I can't believe she hid the pregnancy from the press this long. Hashtags trended. #welcome babyshu. #Tan Songyun Memar. #they never left us. #why did they hide her? But amid the chaos, they said nothing. They didn't confirm. They didn't deny. They didn't explain. They just stayed quiet. And people talked louder.